Hey, let's jump into this. And before I really get going, I want to take, and again, a gift of gratitude is part of what I'm trying to do during all these changes that we faced is just be a little more gracious for what we have. So I want to thank P&S, the Phillips family for supporting these efforts of getting these webcasts up and going. Bob and Dave, much appreciated for the support. So thank you guys. It's been a blessing to be able to just talk to people and see where people are at. And I think a lot of people have settled down and have kind of gotten to a good groove. So with that, we'll go ahead and just start this off and rethink everything. Again, every time I do one of these is I come up with a new quest or a new idea or a new mission. And the quest this week and moving ahead is to stop doing the same old dumb shit things in life. Is just stop doing the stuff that you regret doing, the things that, overworking or not enjoying life enough or not going to the gym or not writing or not taking up your hobby, not playing that season of softball that you want to play. Stop having regrets and stop doing the dumb stuff in life that you do. So we're going to make this we don't have any guests on today. I want to kind of keep this, we're going to start mixing these in and keep them kind of short to respect your guys' time. So we're going to bring guests in when it's appropriate and not appropriate and go from there. So this is the final section of chapter 2. We're going to go through and you can see Sydney wanted to say hi to everybody. So she came into the picture. Hi, Sydney. Oh, yep, I see you. So we're going to go through, this is pages 35 through 43 in my book. Jason Rose added a great message within this chapter. It's a really long message. A lot of people have asked me, hey, why did you bring other people into your book? Why? One of the questions I got from the last one was why. I'm reading through that and there's other people. Well, what was your decision making when you decided to add other people to it? And the reason we did that, there's a lot of guest writers in the book, was that because I don't have all the answers. Nobody does. And the other thing is that, people's experiences throughout business and throughout their careers and throughout their lives brings a whole nother angle. And those angles are really valuable. And so I really wanted to bring other people into it. That's why we brought on guests and so forth, because it's just another angle. It's another set of experiences and so forth. Today, we're going to cover a little bit about your income needs and projections, being real with that, some myths versus facts, paying the price versus not overpaying. That's a big one. A lot of mistakes that young, new entrepreneurs, not just young, but new entrepreneurs, somebody new to business or not very seasoned, they make that mistake is they pay the price, but man, they overpay the price. I definitely made that mistake. Part-time into going full-time. And then kind of, I'm going to give an angle of making this a lifestyle business. And the rewards for staying at it is that, my good friend Jim Gogan, he constantly says this, is that people just give up too soon. And business is tough, but if people would just stay the course and keep with it, is that great things could happen. So we're going to talk about some of that. So going ahead right now is, let's talk about some myths. Let's talk about that $100,000. I actually had a young man come up to me this last year in 2019, and he says, hey, I'm coming out of a really good career. I was making a couple $100,000 a year. I've got, hey, Randy, I can hear that in the background. Could you turn that off as soon as you can, please? Yep. Sorry, we've got, again, I'm coming from home, guys. I probably should have done it in the shop. But so, get back to that, is that this young man comes up to me and says, I've got to make $200,000 a year in this first year. And I said, that's a really tall task. I won't say that you can't. I think that probably a small percentage, I've got 1%, can clear $100,000 right away, but it's tough. It's really tough to do that. If you've got the perfect scenario where you've got the perfect education, you've done a lot of research, you've invested a lot of money into your company, into your detailing business. Yeah, you can do that. You can accomplish that. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's tough. The likelihood of doing it is increasing. Is that the people that are really smart about this and they're getting educated and they are educated, is they could do it. But usually the norm is it's going to take a little bit of time, a few years to get to that point. Now, can you make a good living, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 out of the gate? Absolutely. You can make a great living. But to clear 100 grand that first year when you're doing things right, you're investing in your company, maybe you're going from mobile to fixed, you're getting into your first shop, is if you keep your cost, your expenses down, you could definitely do it. The other thing is a lot of people want to become a millionaire from detailing. Is you can become a blue collar millionaire. But again, is that it's going to take time to do it. It's not going to happen overnight. We got this ad, that we took note of, and it says an overnight success, 30 years in the making. And that's the thing, is a lot of people don't realize is that, when I was young, is that I sold my first detailing company. I thought, oh man, I'm getting out of this. It's kind of grimy. I worked my booty off. I'm not going to keep doing this. I'm going to go become a millionaire by the time I'm 25. And it just wasn't that easy to do. Now there's people that do that. I'm not one of them, but within our trade, within the automotive sector, it's not easy to do. It's going to take some time. And in both businesses, it's going to take a lot of time. Of course.
Hey, can I throw something in there real quick?
Yeah, you bet.
The whole idea of the overnight success myth and that kind of thing, it's important that you understand that, because if you don't, and you have too high of an expectation, that could really affect your mental health a bit too.
Well, it does. And it really stresses out. I mean, it just takes, and it throws you off your game. It throws you, it can create depression. It can do a lot. And we're going to go into that even later. Is we're going to have an expert come in on Friday and talk about those stresses and what causes it, how to get out of it, and all that good stuff, because it's a reality a lot of people don't want to talk about. And so, coming in and trying to become that millionaire instantly, try to enjoy life. Just try to and take the time. And sorry, I'm distracted, guys. Is that I've got family around. I'm not upset at them, but I'm trying to take and do this and pay attention. I've got 20 things going around. I should have just done this in my shop. Usually I do. But it's a thing, is, again, wanting too much too soon, is that it's a good dream to have, and it's a goal to have. And listen, I wish that everybody that started a small business would be into a 6-figure income within, a short time, and then have a 7-figure value within that time, but a lot of times it just does not happen. YouTube certified. A lot of people want to take and become certified by watching videos. And, YouTube and the internet, you guys are on right here. I learn a lot from the internet. I get a lot of knowledge and information from watching things, but there's a huge difference between a vested education and know-how. Now, you can go the old-fashioned way. I did it, and you can take in YouTube and learn it on your own, teach yourself. But the setback on that is realizing the high income and realizing a 7-figure value of wealth is going to be slowed down a great amount. It's just like becoming a doctor. Becoming a doctor isn't a guarantee that you're going to be a wealthy doctor. Becoming a specialist, the chances of you making a lot more money and making a bigger impact are far greater when you go into surgery, emergency medicine, plastic surgery, something like that. But the time involved in your education also increases too. And so that YouTube, I don't want to dismiss it, because we ourselves use it as a tool to take and educate people. But at the same token, you've got to be very careful who you're getting information from. I know some of the, I won't say some, I know of a couple top influencers that do a great job, but the practicality of them building a small business just isn't there. And so while they've got great personality on the videos, they do a fantastic job, they put good information out, is that if you're into this as a business versus a hobby, it's going to be a huge difference on what you're realizing. Another myth I want to talk about is staff will do all the work for you. That's a great myth. And here's the deal, is one of the biggest challenges is staffing. So Jeff Brotman, one of the big shots at Costco, was one of our clients for years. We in detailing, and then we owned a transportation company. Jeff was writing a book about Costco and his experience with Costco. And he asked me, he said, "Hey, Renny, what is one of the biggest," he said, "I'm trying to relate to small business too. What's one of the biggest challenges that you've got within your business?" And I said, personnel and payroll. So he asked me in detail, he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, finding people is really tough. Keeping people is really tough. You've got to start them kind of at the baseline. We started a lot better than what most jobs start out with, but it was still an entry-level job. When the economy's cranking, it's really hard to keep people. And by the time that you get up to where they can make good money, a lot of times they're impatient, and there's people looking just to fill jobs. There's construction sites that are going to pay 20, 25 bucks an hour just to pick up debris. And so it's really hard for you to compete as a small business and find the right people. Furthermore, is to pay them right, give them the benefits. And then also, they're not going to be as passionate. It's your business. And a lot of small business owners, they put this tremendous pressure on themselves and this tremendous pressure on their staff, because they expect the staff to do exactly what they do it and as good as they do. Listen, they're not going to probably be near as passionate about your business as you are. And so to have the staff do all the work, you betcha. Do I want to multiply myself? Absolutely. But it takes time. And again, we used to say for every 10 people we'd hire, we'd get a decent one. For every 20 people we'd hire, we would get a good one. For every 30 people we'd hire, we would take and get an absolute life changer. And so it takes that rotation to find the right people, and it takes you time. Now, one of the successes we had in that is staff will take and multiply. I like force multipliers. I like to take and be able to increase my impact with having help or personnel. And so what I love to do is look for people that are going to be loyal to you. We did a great job of hiring seasonal work at the high school and at the college level, and then also with people that are a little older, that maybe at a retirement age, that want to have something that just part-time. Also, believe it or not, is moms, stay-at-home moms. Is we had a couple of stay-at-home moms that they come in part-time during the day when their kids are at school. They'd get there after the kids were dropped off, and they'd have to leave before the kids got out of school. It was okay, because that's what we were looking for. And they were very, very dedicated to working because they wanted to have something good to come back with, and we gave them a great environment. So also culture is, talk about your culture, is that so many people rule like Frankenstein, is they're hardcore on their staff. And you've got to be giving. People aren't there just for the money. If you make it all about the money with staff, you're going to have a real hard time. You've got to have culture. You've got to be a good leader. You've got to know the difference between a good leader and a bad leader. You've got to give them some consistency in life. They don't want to take and be on a roller coaster. We tried that many times. We're too small and too naive and too young in business to be hiring people yet. And it was a very uneven work environment. That's not fair to you, and it's not fair to them. And it was a lesson that I had to learn. Tell people exactly what to expect and keep to that promise, because, it's not going to be smooth all the time, but you don't want it to be a roller coaster experience when you hire people on. Detailing has seasons. I hear this all the time. Is you can see behind us, it's snowing right now. It's we had our most successful shop in an area just like this in Sun Valley, Idaho. We had a really, really long winter there, and in the early years, it was really tough. It was very, very seasonal. But by the time that we took and got mature in our business, we rolled it around to where it was pretty consistent year round. Now, it was nuts busy between, let's say, April 1st and about October 1st. It was crazy busy. The rest of the year was very predictable. It was very easy. We knew that when it rained, we were going to have cancellations. We knew when there was heavy snow that we're going to have delays. We knew all those things, but we kept it pretty balanced, and we could keep a certain amount of staff on to handle that work. And while we weren't making a ton of money throughout the winter season, is we kept our business alive. We didn't have to go into savings. We kept a good staff, trained staff on. They didn't have to go anywhere. And so it really made us a lot of money because we didn't have any retraining. And we developed a really good culture during the wintertime, is that we just really enjoyed our downtime, and our staff enjoyed it. And it was a time that we were still making money, still covering the bills, but it wasn't so hectic. So detailing does have seasons, but you can develop it and market your way into to where you're pretty consistent. This is one of the biggest myths, is that a one-man shop won't make any money. Listen, a one-man shop can be tough. And the reason why is because all the work's on your shoulders. I'm still a big proponent of having seasonal help when it's real busy, just to take the load off you. But let me tell you, the lifestyle that a one-person shop offers, if you're a lifestyle person, you want to work hard for the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years and make a good, solid 6-figure income, provide for your family, build a solid business that is sellable. So the other thing is, a lot of people think that one-man shops are not sellable. I don't agree with that at all. I think there's a lot of people that have crappy jobs that are making good money that would love to get in and make good money, but be their own bosses. It takes a lot of tracking. You've got your bookkeeping, your business. You've got to be on point. It takes some forethought of what you're naming your business. I've always got an exit strategy. Anytime I start a business, I'm looking at how I'm going to get out of that business. Where am I going to go with that business as it gets out? And so those are some of the most common. There's a lot of other myths. You know, detailing's easy. Man, detailing will wear you down. Detailing's easy to learn. You know, the skills of detailing, honestly, it's like I tell people, when they come into our 5-day training, is that within 5 days, we're going to cut off a couple, 2, 3, 4 years of learning and just catapult them ahead. They've got as good as skills as the seasoned 10-year people do. They can probably beat up on about 85% of detailers skills-wise. Where the advantage comes from is from the business side of things, from the support side of things, and helping you make the right decisions. Is many of us just don't have a lot of in-depth business experience. Matter of fact, this gentleman in the background of this picture is one of my mentors and a good friend, part of our group, outstanding entrepreneur, somebody I really look up with. He's my buddy, so I was going through my pictures. I always like to put different people on these slides. So that's Craig. If you're on, thanks for all you do for me as a friend, as a mentor, and as a colleague. So with that, let's go into this now too, is that I love movies. So the good, the bad, the ugly. Clint Eastwood. I mean, it's a great old Western, right? It's a movie. The music is just insane. If you guys haven't heard it, Google up music for the good, the bad, the ugly. You've probably heard it before, even if you're really young. But sacrifice is a big word that's thrown around. And sacrifice is good, it's bad, and it's ugly. And so I want to talk about all of these different sections of sacrifice. Now, within the movie, there's the good, which is Clint Eastwood. Then there's the bad with a bad dude, right? And then there's the bad, ugly dude. So let's talk about all those aspects of sacrifice. So we're going to go in and let's talk about the good. You need to dig deep. You need to probably dig deeper than you've ever dug before if you're going to make it out. This is a reality right now. Did you know that by year 10, at least, up to 75% of small businesses that are started in America, 75% at 10 years have failed already. And so if you're going to take and accomplish this, you're going to have to dig deep. You're going to have to go deeper than you've done on anything else. The success of business has been both one of the easiest and hardest things I've ever done. Is that the biggest thing is you cannot take your foot off the accelerator. You got to keep going. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't take breaks, but you just can't stop going. My mind is on my business pretty much 24/7. I don't work every day, but every day I at least take a look at my business. I look at it. It offers a great lifestyle as long as you don't let it. We'll get into the bad and the ugly here in a bit. You're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to work at periods harder than you've ever worked. There's days, there's weeks, there's months where I crank it out. Here I am 30 plus years into it. And it's a lot harder work and a lot more work a lot of times than I want to do. But I've got to get over a hump. We're starting up a new division. We're starting up something new. Double Black, when we launched with PNS, that was something that, for about 40 months, we just cranked it. We worked so hard, the staff at PNS, Keith, Bob, Dave, all of us, the whole staff up there, all the distributors, everybody, we worked so hard to get PNS to the next level. We worked so hard to introduce a brand new line within PNS, and it was a lot of work. Now, here's the thing, is at some point, you're going to have to instill, and I would suggest right off the bat, this is our good reset time right now, is some really smart working habits. Is that, you control your schedule. If you're overworking, the only one to blame for that is you. If you're working too many hours, the only one to blame for that is you. If you're stressed out, the only one to blame for that is you. And so get smart with things. It's not necessarily hard work alone, but hard work, let me tell you, when we come out of hard times, the most common thing is I'm going to dig and go and work a lot harder than the average person's going to. Carroll Shelby, I've told this story many times. I got the chance to meet him. I asked him for a little entrepreneur advice. He, in his last statement to me, we had a great conversation. But one of the things he says, son, you could take me and drop me off at 80 years old in the middle of Michigan in January, butt naked, with not a dime to my name. And by June, I'm going to be back on top and be a millionaire again. And the reason why is he knew the formula for doing it, and few people would stick at it and work it as hard as he did. He also mastered relationships. The dude, everybody I know that has been something at some point, unless you're a tech guy and just sitting in the right seat, but at some point, if you're in the service business, you're going to have to master relationships. So the next one is be mentored. Is that this is probably one of the biggest things you could do, is that you have got to find somebody that you look up with. I've had some of the best mentors in the world during my career, my life. I've got mentors for different aspects of my life, for business, for search and rescue, for military, for personal, for being a dad, for being a husband, for just being a dude, for being a dude, for those times that I've given up myself to go out and give, to everybody else. That's also dangerous too. So to have those mentors to tell you the facts is really, really cool. What managed sacrifice is really controlled chaos when it comes down to it, is that you have got to plug in some off days. You have got to plug in some off weeks and getaway times. Every day you've got to plug in an hour or two that you're off the grid. You're not thinking business. You're letting your mind rest. Even during rest periods, am I getting creative? Absolutely. But I've learned throughout time, and I did this even as a young man in my 20s, is that creativeness, if I go in and I feed my mind with things it loves, and a lot of you can sell yourself the story that, oh, I just love my work so much that's what I get the joy out of. You know what bullshit is? When you were a kid, is that, you wanted to go out and play. And if you didn't, well, you probably wouldn't have gotten along too well in our neighborhood. It was all the time from the sun came out until those lights came on in the streets. It was nonstop, man. I want to be that kid as an adult with a serious attitude, again, with controlled chaos on the business side of things. I want to be able to take and be nutty as can be and work my booty off, but have a lot of fun doing it. And then the realities of today versus the past, I'm not going to tell you that today it's easier to succeed, because it's really, you've got more tools to succeed than you've ever had. Today you've got technology that's helping you, but also technology that's hurting you. Today is that you've got a very smart bed of competitors. Is that everybody, believe it or not, even your worst competitors, has got the opportunity to get smart. Back in the day when we started our businesses, you didn't have that. You had to go the old-fashioned way and do a lot of reading and research and mentors and so forth. There wasn't instant gratification and knowledge like there is today, aka Google and YouTube. Didn't have that ability. So now with people like myself and several people in the industry that are out there reaching out to you right now as we speak, having events like this, is that they are sharing knowledge that would have taken you years to get a hold of. Even today, right now, the information I'm sharing, it would have probably taken me to gather this little bit of an hour's worth of information, months, to put it all together with mentors and coaches. Months that you're getting in minutes. And so the realities of today is that for those that really, truly do want to succeed, and for those that really, truly do want to engage their business at a new level, and those, the good side, want to take and build not just a business, not just a brand, but a life around it, is I've got a saying is, while you're building that business, build the business around your life, not the business, not the life around your business. Meaning that you don't want your business to own you. If your business owns you, at some point you're going to be damaged. How do I know that? I'll raise my hand right now. I've gone through that several times throughout my career where I've just let it get out of hand. It got into my mind and it damaged me. It actually slowed the process. It slowed down my success rate just by taking and making that one step and going into burnout. So that's the good. Now here we go. You guys ready for that? Here's the bad. That dude's spooky looking, isn't he? I mean, he is spooky looking. I always looked at that. I loved this movie as a kid. But here's the deal, is the bad. Most overwork and under-earn. I'm going to say that again. Most overwork and under-earn, meaning that you're working all these hours And if you divided that, all those hours up by the amount of money you bring in, do that equation, is that you would probably not be very happy with your hourly rate. And that's just the facts. You've got to take, and I track all my hours. I have for a long time. There's periods where I was really depressed because I was just working too many damn hours. The return on investment was really low. And a lot of times it was just my ego getting in the way, or what I thought I had to do, or being pushed into I pushed myself into a bad situation, and I had to dig out. Those are all foolish things. Those are things that could have been missed had you taken and had the right things from the good list. Now, most will experience burnout. Here's the deal. Probably even if you run your business 100% right, you're going to have some sort of burnout. But there's what I call surface burnout, where it's kind of you go get a rest, you take a couple of days off. Maybe at the end of the week you're burned out, but by Monday you're raring to go. You can't wait. Then there's deep-based burnout, and that's where, man, you've damaged yourself. And getting up is you're not being honest with yourself. You're saying, man, I'm really burned out. I don't know how much longer I can go. You're pushing yourself through, but it's damaged. And there's something in here I'm gonna share with you here in a second that I've been doing a lot of research on. That level of burnout, that deep burnout, that down deep into your gut burnout, that's dangerous. It's dangerous for your health. It's dangerous for your physical health, your mental health. It's dangerous for your business. Become less attractive to customers when they can sense that burnout. Maybe your energy level's not up. You're not attracting people like you normally would. Those are all dangerous things. And then also, again, this is a repeat. Most small businesses will fail by year 10. Then what? You just did all of this for what purpose? If you're going to go through and you're going to wreck your health, you're going to wreck your life, and you're going to wreck your personal life, and you're going to wreck your hobbies, and your dog doesn't even like you, and now you fail, what was that for? I mean, that was just silly. And I'll tell you what, the people that fail that I see, and I think we've seen it in recent times, is we got a lot of big mouths, a lot of braggers, a lot of people that tear people down instead of building people up, that are on their behinds right now. And they're either going to fail or it's going to set them back. And if they're honest with us all, which they won't be, is they'd tell us truly how deep they're hurting. Have I been to that point? No, I've never been to that point because I've never been that kind of a-hole. I've been an a-hole, but not that level of a-hole. Here's the deal, is that, you know what? You've got to take and realize and be truthful with yourself. When's enough? 40 hours a week is fine. There are societies in this world that look at societies like America that work so many hours and think we are foolish. We were talking to, I can't remember who it was. We were talking about the new generation, the younger people right now that are just looking at jobs and saying, hey man, I don't want to work, overtime. I don't want to work all these hours. I don't want to be stuck in traffic. I don't want to take in and not have vacations and get away. I think they're brilliant. People rag on them. I think it's those of us that have burned ourselves out and done damage to ourselves that's foolish, not them. They've got it right. So here's the deal. Ask yourself this. Are you overworking? Are you under-earning? Are you going through burnout? Is it deep burnout, surface burnout? What will fix it? If you take a little time off, will that little bit of time take and relieve some of that burnout? And then again, are you going to be a statistic 10 years from now? Are you going to go through all this pain and suffering only to take and fail? And I hope your answer is no. So now here's the ugly. This is the ugly part of it. This guy was always, man, a great actor. I love seeing his part in this movie. And he was an ugly looking dude. In reality, he wasn't. But the way they dressed him, the way they did things and characterized him, he was an ugly dude. But here's some really, really ugly things about overworking and overstressing. The realities of it, I want to introduce you to something, to FPTSD. That's financial. We've all heard of PTSD. We'll now just add the financial in front of it. And guess what? It's a reality that in 2008, when the economy crashed in modern times, it was there during the Great Depression. We just didn't know what it was called, where people leaped out of their windows, and on Wall Street, where farmers committed suicide. It's a real thing. And financial post-traumatic stress disorder is no joke. Post-traumatic stress disorder is a real anxiety issue. It's a real issue that affects a lot of people. And here's the deal. You don't have to be military to have it done. You don't have to be law enforcement, EMS, medical, any of that to have post-traumatic stress disorder. There's a lot of things that cause that. Now, I'm careful to use that because I think a lot of people take it and use it as a crutch. But with that, the people that don't, that have got some serious issues, these are serious issues that can carry over the rest of your life. And I myself, I think, am probably experienced that and experience it today. It's probably something I suffered from. Anxiety issues is that, boy, I'll tell you what, is that I broke myself so bad mentally at some point when I get into a bind. It's funny, I'm the military search and rescue man, I keep my cool. But when in the business, if things aren't going how I want them to go, because listen, at this stage of my career, I should have them going pretty smoothly, right? But if I see a hint of my past life growing up, you know, the way that we grew up with not much, really happy, but we didn't grow up with much, but I don't want to go back to that. If I pick that up, my anxiety levels go through the roof. And I'm just being honest. The things that did that was overworking. Overworking was the number one culprit that did that. The other thing was putting financial pressure on myself, carrying too big of a load. That's silly. It's all self-induced. You just don't need to do that. And then it comes down to a family breakdown. Is how many people right now, with what we've got going on in society right now, how many families are going to be completely destroyed from this? Not just from losing people from COVID-19, but from the stresses, from the financial stresses, from the lack of communication, from the anxiety, from PTSD, from all these different things surfacing just from this one event. The fallout's going to be massive. And so it's really important that you keep your brain, your mind thinking and clear, because you're not big enough to market yourself out of this. You can come out of it and market yourself out of it. But right now, to do it while everybody else is really hurting, some businesses have kept alive. Some industries are actually thriving. But for the service businesses, for restaurants, for automotive services like all of us are in, is we're hurting right now. And so the biggest thing I can tell you is don't get to the bad and don't get to the ugly parts. You've got to stay to the good. You've got to keep your mind fresh. You've got to keep your mind healthy. You got to keep your body healthy. You got to keep your thinking healthy. Everything about that is that. Don't go bad, don't go ugly. I've got to tell you, don't do it. Because once you go down those roads, the recovery is pretty slow. And I'm not sure from some of the stresses that I've witnessed in my life, and it's a combination of things, I'm not sure if I'll ever be normal. I don't think any of us come out normal. I don't think we go out of this life the same way we came in. Now, am I happy and so forth? Yeah. But I've definitely got trigger points that will trigger me off and to throw me into anxiety and sad times and even depression. So don't go there. If you are there, you need to learn how to deal with it and cope with it. You need to take and seek out some professional help. I had to go out and get some counseling. The gentleman that we're going to bring on Friday is going to talk about these exact things and how it relates back to what we're all facing right now in the world. And we're going to take him down a rabbit hole into some business topics of how we as entrepreneurs, how we can help ourselves out of this. Okay, so here's my challenge. I told you today I was going to keep it kind of a little bit of a shorter event. Is my challenge to you, and I already did this. Matter of fact, I shared it with Chris yesterday. Is as I was exercising, I made a reality list that includes life-changing goals. Make this list daily and update. And so I get off. I do one exercise that takes me, today about 20 minutes. And as I'm going through it, is I think right when I start of, okay, what can I change? What do I have control of my life every day that I've got control of? And one of those things is my schedule, is that I can take a lot of times the pressure I put on. And the reason, if I don't get to the gym, it's because of me. If I don't hug my wife, it's because of me. If I don't give attention to my hobbies, it's because of me. And so you've got to take and figure out how you're going to gift yourself with a little time every day. And I know that seems absolutely selfish, but it's not, because a happy you is a happy universe. You've got to figure out your challenge today is to walk away from this meeting, it should take you 5 minutes, and make a list of the things that you can control that's controlling you right now. So maybe it's that you're overworking. Maybe you're just putting too much into each job that you do. Maybe you're spending way too much time on the internet. You know, you can control that even on your phone. Is just shut the apps down. Log out. Simple as that. Turn off notifications. There's a lot of ways that you can disengage from social media. And the thing I've asked myself during recent times is this, is that really is me reading what's on the news, me listening, seeing what's on the news or social media or on the radio, is it going to change the outcome of all this? Well, I'm one of those. I love to stay up to date, but you know, you can stay up to date twice a day for 5 minutes on either end. So in 10 minutes, you can get all the news worldwide that you need. I've got my source. It's an app right on the front of my phone. I hit that. I scroll through it 2 or 3 times a day, tops 10 minutes a day, tops. And then at some point I go on to social media. At some point I don't go on anymore. And so it's a control thing. It's addictive. You can get onto it. The other thing is how much you're working, is that you've got to have joys outside of your business. Figure out what those joys are and take aim at them. Okay. You've got to bring joy back into your life. If you don't bring joy back into your life, believe it or not, it's going to make your business suffer. Because if you're feeling down, if you're feeling depressed, you're probably somewhat being an asshole, and it's coming out at some point. You can turn on the fake meter for so long, but at some time, you're not going to be able to fake your way out of it. People are going to see the unhappiness. People are going to sense it. If people are asking you, hey, are you okay? That's a warning sign. When people are asking you, hey, are you okay? That's a warning. You have now, your reality has hit them. They're on to you. And so if you've got people asking you, hey, are you okay? You need to do a gut check. And you need to see, you're going to need to ask yourself, hey, am I really okay? And here's the good news. If you're not, it's okay. It's okay to say that I'm struggling with stuff. It's only a sin to say that you aren't struggling with stuff when you know deep in your heart and your gut that you are. And so you've got to admit those things. And admitting them to yourself is only going to be so good, is you've got to go out and have a release and talk to it, whether it's your dog, whether it's a tree out on a hike, but you've got to release that stuff. So with that, let's go ahead and come over here. And Chris, do we have any questions popping up?
I do have 1 or 2 here so far. Luke actually asked if it's worth hiring seasonal and then having to do training all over again each time versus keeping either solo or having someone on staff consistently.
Well, it's the answer, I guess, is this: is your business busy enough to keep a staff member on year round? Well, at least pay for yourself. Did you put enough away to when we're busy to keep them on? So the answer is, by all preference, I want to try to keep people on if I can. Now, in my early days, so later in our business, as we became more mature, that was the goal. That was, we did not, especially because are they doing skill-based work for you? A lot of times when I first got started, I was the one that was doing all the skill-based. I just needed somebody doing the vacuuming, the tire dressing, wiping down, putting dressing on the inside, dressing the engine, cleaning the wheels. I mean, simple things like that. I was doing the stain removal. I was doing the paint correction. Those were all things that I was doing. So in the event that you have to let them go from that, that's what we did. The first probably 2, 3, 4 years is we would bring people on and then let them go, because the retrain was a week or 2. It wasn't that big of an investment. As we matured and we got more successful, is those same people were doing more skilled labor work and were actually a multiplier of me. So it was me doing it and 1 or 2 others doing it also. So we couldn't afford to retrain at that level, so we kept them on. So it just depends on where you're at in your business.
Cool. He typed in a follow-up question, says, so designate a day or 2 to train on the simple work and let them focus on that?
I'm not sure if I understand that question. No, I'm on the job training and detailing is we're on the job training. And so, and the baseline at the base work, doing all the support, what we call support work, just the dressing, the vacuuming, help me wash. I would teach them principles. and then get them involved right away and just kind of watch them. So it's going to slow your process down for a week or two because you're going to have to keep an eye on them. Then once we started teaching, paint correction or stain removal, is again, it was on live vehicles, is we would take and slowly start showing them just a stage 1. We're not going to jump them into a stage 3 with sanding, is we just get them down to where their technique was right. And once they got their technique right and they're doing stage 1s, we take them up to stage 2. Once they're doing correction and polishing, then we show them a lot of light sanding. And so, it would take our guys, we had certifications. I know certifications isn't a popular thing, very popular with our shops. We had self-certifications. There was no IDA back then. So to become a master would take our guys 3-4 years. That meant they were well skilled within every aspect of detailing. They couldn't do sanding in all the top levels, and they weren't making top level money until they became a master. Once they became a master, there was profit sharing, there was all kinds of good stuff. But I wasn't one that liked to take time out and show. Our business was too active. We could not afford to do anything outside. Now, during the wintertime or during down days, is if we had an opportunity to show them something either on their car or our car, we would do that. Is we take the opportunity and train them on that. But by that point, we didn't have very many down days. It just didn't exist. So I hope
Luke has been through the 5-day training that you do, and I'd have to say that the way you explain training your staff is also kind of the way you train the guys in the class.
Absolutely. On the job, it's fly. We don't get a lot of hood work. We don't do, that's exactly it, Chris. And it's we get them active and going right away. And it's just jumping in with both feet. And are you going to screw some stuff up? Yeah, I screwed stuff up learning. What makes you think that they're not going to screw some stuff up learning? They're going to. But supervision these days, with as good as equipment and products and knowledge is, it's minimal. It really is. It's minimal. So
cool. Tim Cardy typed in a question on Facebook, and I'm actually going to throw in my 2 cents first, Renny, and then I'll let you follow up. But he says he was thinking about doing a LinkedIn page to get his business name out there and to get more high-end clients. Should I do it under my business name or my personal name? And I actually think that's a great idea, although I don't have a ton of LinkedIn experience myself. I've heard of a lot of people having great success with it. I personally think that that you should do, your own personal page to make those connections, but there is a way to also associate your own business and have a separate business page. So I would work on building up both and make sure that they're tied into each other.
Boy, great response. LinkedIn, I'll tell you what, I think even Chris and I aren't as involved in LinkedIn as we should be. LinkedIn, I think, is one of the it's a jewel that's out there. And I don't think enough detailing professionals, including myself, really utilize it. I think that the people on LinkedIn are a little more sophisticated. You don't see all the nonsense that you do on other social media platforms. So I think that's a wise decision. And I think go after it.
I also know from a page standpoint on LinkedIn, it's a good way to educate people, not to sell to people.
Right. Absolutely. That's a great point. William Lara, adds in, it's a great platform for high-end clients. And, I just think that I think that it's a great place to show the professional side of things. But I'm one of those that, you just saw my dog jump up here earlier in the podcast, is that I think people need to see a little rawness with you too, and that you're real. I don't think that hurts. And so I think that showing a little bit, I've been posting some pictures. I obviously love to hike and love to get outdoors. And I show that side of me. I love my dogs. I show that side of me. And so I think that's a good thing. So, hey, this is cool, Isaac. Isaac's the young man that asked me about $200K a year. And I've actually had a couple people, Isaac, but it was you because I remember your name. So the thing I've realized is that there are no shortcuts. And this last year, I've learned a lot from many others. I've continued to put in the work, but still have a lot to learn. The reality is that there are no shortcuts, but there are smart cuts. Oh my gosh, Isaac, that is smart cuts. Dude, I'm going to borrow that. Isaac's smart cuts. Okay. That is cool. You know what? I'm glad you stuck it out, man, because, it's a good, it is a good, and listen, let me tell you, Isaac, I brought that conversation, and you made an impact with me, because here's the thing: you didn't back down. is that day when I told you that, you're like, almost like, hey, watch me. But the other thing I did is that now, humbly, you came through and you said there's no shortcuts. I think that you're way ahead of the game, man. And we need more people like you. Is that I might even criticize you and go, man, dude, that kid's crazy. 200 grand a year? You think he's going to, you know what? Now I applaud you. And if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be you. And so I think it's badass that you stuck with it and that you man up and you said, hey, man, I learned a lot because I do the same thing. But, my hat's off to Isaac, dude. It's matter of fact, email me, Isaac, at Renny@detailingsuccess.com. I got something for you I'm going to send you. So send me your address. But Isaac, just that was a badass comment. And boy, I'm going to watch you because you're going to be something in the future that's going to come up. So my eyes are going to be on you right now. So cool. Okay.
Let's see. I got an anonymous attendee with a question about interior detailing. And essentially, besides taking some training classes, what are some top tips for saving time during interior detailing?
Well, training. I'm always gonna promote it, not just because I do it, but because it's. I think that when we come out of here, interiors are going to be a lot more in demand, and they're going to be a lot more eyes on them. And so, but with that, I think that adding in tools like steam, dry steaming, getting away from extraction, believe it or not, and dry cleaning surfaces more than soaking them are different ways. I think that we teach a method. Matter of fact, I think we've got a video coming out on a method that we teach at the training for using the double black, the PNS double black interior that we'll show you there, a quick way to do it. But I think just, using the right products is absolutely key. And then getting an SOP, just a standard operating procedure down. And then a key to it, what Diane really teaches, because she's the queen of interiors, is that I think that having a really good checkoff list. I think that a lot of people don't have a good final checkoff. And where we saw this is that in Europe, when we've gone to Europe, is that our first time over there is watching how the Germans and the Austrians did their checkoff list, their last inspection. It changed the way we detailed. And I think that just those simple habits. So I think that steam, dry, and a checkoff list. If I had to tell you simple ways of doing it without going into any specific training, I think those things right there would offer you up a lot of advantages over and save you some time. Also, in addition to that, is knowing what the customer's expectation is that I always tell people, the second I see stains in a car, is there's really, we have in ours, I think Diane and I were one of the earliest to call services stage 1, 2s, and 3s. And we always say that there's rarely any stage 3s anymore in exterior detailing. And there's rarely any stage 2s anymore in interiors. It's either a clean interior or it's got stains. The second it goes over to stains, we go to stage 3 because we want to err on our side. We don't know how long it's going to take us. And then there's that stage 3 with a grenade thrown in on top, to where it's just completely, blown up, and we charge extra for that. That's another good point, is knowing what to charge, what your shop rate should be on that, and giving a range versus a hard number. Is that when somebody comes in or they call you and they say, hey, how much? Well, use modern technology, man. Have them send you a video, some pictures on your phone, and text it over to you. And so you can get an idea and then say, boy, you know what, until I see it, I can give you a range. That's the best I'm going to do. You're looking at probably $300 to $600. Wow, that's a big range. Yeah, well, bring it by and I'll give you an exact number. But until I see it, and then don't promise anything, until you get working on those stains. You don't know what they've done, if they've set them in or anything else. So a lot of equations. I think what we're going to find out moving ahead from all this that we've faced is that exterior detailing, I'm not taking anything away from paint correction. Paint correction is a true, it's a skill set that is pretty, it takes time to learn and get good at. But I question that because I can get somebody to do a 90% corrections in 5 days and doing some pretty badass sanding on top of that. Interiors, here's the deal, is paint changes from model to model. Each manufacturer has a little different paint. We have a new paint system come up every decade or so. Something new changes in it. Maybe every 3 to 5 years, we go back into a tri-coat or something like that, But every single model year is we get new interior surfaces that you've got to take in. You've got to be able to scientifically figure out how to fix. And so I think that moving ahead, that interiors are going to be, I think that if I were, what I'm teaching in the Detail Mafia right now and moving ahead is there, and we have really, I'm looking at Diane, we've always said this, there's interiors will give you an edge at certain times and during tough times. And I wish that we wouldn't have been so right on this one, but interiors are something is that I don't care what market you're in, you can make $75 to $150 an hour off interiors if you start marketing your reputation and your know-how and your marketing's on point and your relationship building's on point and you're known as the guru in town. You can do well. And anytime that you can go in and make $100 an hour on something, not a bad day. So thanks for the question. Great question.
And you got to do them efficiently.
Got to do them efficiently. Got to do them. Yep. You can't, we get in there, we move very quickly and very rapidly. And I'll tell you, I'll brag real quick about somebody that understands the importance of interiors is two friends of mine, the Chris and Christian Parker out of Scottsdale, Arizona, Detail Boss, is that these dudes do, I mean, it's just amazing paint correction coatings, PPF, color change vinyl. I mean, they window tinting, they do all this stuff. But we had a little detailing competition and they entered it and they won with their interiors, is because they're fast, efficient, and good. And so, you know, is interiors a lot of times you got to stay, it's well-rounded. When I see people that say, I really don't know how to do interiors, well, you know, you're not balanced. And here's the deal, I don't do interiors. Well, your customer's going to go somewhere when they need an interior. And if I'm your competition, you're not getting that customer back. I hate to say it, because that's how we ran our business, is that we didn't churn customers over. We didn't lose customers. And if you're sending them to a different source, I'd rethink your strategy.
Yep. Yeah. These days, I hesitate to send people to a PPF shop too, just for that reason.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You know, it's exactly it. Isaac, thank you. So, okay. So any other questions?
I got nothing else right now.
Cool. So on Friday, guys, we're probably going to revamp these things a little bit eventually. We're going to start probably opening up some markets here in the next, I'm hoping that here in California between May 1st and May 15th is that we can all go back to work and start getting back life to normal. So we're going to start going back to a regular schedule, you know, on these things. I'm not saying I'm going to back off 3 days a week, but starting Friday, we're going to have a guest on that's going to be completely different. We're not going to get into the book. We're going to get into some realities of owning a business and how to deal with stress and anxiety and fear and all that good stuff. So really excited to Keith Duplessis, who's a guard member, is bringing in a specialist in that area. And we're really excited to have him on. So make sure to join us at 9 a.m. on Friday Pacific time, 12 noon Eastern time, and we'll cover that. And then we got a lot of cool videos coming out, a lot of short 60-second videos that are going to be hitting a couple times a week. So watch for those also. So, well, Chris, thank you for thanks for, sorry for being a little fragile just doing it in the house today, but I got to go dig a pathway to the shop and then plow a driveway. So you guys take care. Have a blessed day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay away from one another, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. See you guys.